Hi, everyone. I thought I would hop on today and share a little bit about the gifts of sensitivity and being a highly sensitive person. So, if you don't know me yet, I'm Amy Laginus. I am a therapist and a coach, and I am the founder of Highly Sensitive Parenthood, which is a separate website off of Substack where I offer coaching and courses for parents who are highly sensitive and who are parenting highly sensitive kids. So today I wanted to hop right into what it means to be an HSP and particularly the gifts of it, because so many of us come to an understanding of high sensitivity from a place of challenge, from a place of knowing that we're overstimulated, overwhelmed, and we kind of miss the benefits of it, both for ourselves and for our families. So um, I would love to share a little bit about how that shows up in myself. I'm an HSP, by the way, and I do have two kids, and one of them is highly sensitive as well. And also for the people that I work with in therapy and coaching, um, often we notice things like sensory overstimulation, overwhelm with decision making, easily hurt feelings, perfectionism, and much more. But there are so many benefits to being highly sensitive as well. So, first, through the lens of the kind of deep processing that highly sensitive people do, we're able to think more deeply. We're able to take additional time to process and really understand things from a variety of perspectives. We often make really wise decisions that benefit our families, that benefit our kids. They're often reflective of our values, so they're not just sort of off the cuff. Occasionally, we do feel like we're making decisions off the cuff, but they're still really rooted in kind of our deeply held and thought through values. So, a very like values driven decision making is very common for HSPs. We tend to avoid careless mistakes. Of course, we're not perfect, but because we have this kind of multifaceted awareness and because of our depth of processing, we tend to make pretty solid decisions and avoid mistakes. And lastly, we're really intentional about how we parent our children. And this sometimes can kind of come with like a side effect of anxiety and stress and kind of questioning ourselves and our decisions. But I have not met a highly sensitive parent who was not incredibly thoughtful about how they were parenting and the choices they make in their life to support their children. Things like choosing a school and parenting philosophies and things like that. Again, my perspective is that we can overdo it, we can over process sometimes, and that's where someone like me can come in and kind of offer some sort of gentle bumpers around that. But no HSP parent is careless about how they're parenting their children. I will tell you that. Um, Secondly, looking at kind of our emotional intelligence and our empathy and the gifts that this offers us, the superpowers that this offers us, we easily understand the emotions of others. We're often quite able to like read the room and pick up on really subtle kind of like cues and body language and tone of voice and facial expressions that others might not pick up on. And because of our empathy, we also want to be responsive to that, right? So we have a sense of how to respond in helpful ways when people are struggling. Again, we're not perfect at this, and sometimes we've exceeded our bandwidth, and it's not our place to kind of step in and support every single time we see somebody suffering. And that's another kind of area of boundary setting that I work on with a lot of folks. But that sense of being able to connect with other people's emotions and to step in and support when we want to is a lovely gift. We're also able to bond very deeply with others, and that includes our kids. And also to feel when something's like a little bit off with our relationship or with our loved one's well-being, we can kind of pick up on those subtle cues. Um, and we also feel that deep connection with our children. This looks different at different ages and stages developmentally, but it can include an ability to empathize with and understand their emotions, even if they seem sort of irrational or inscrutable to other adults in their life. So, a common example of this would be sort of like a toddler or a school age child who's having a tantrum. Let's say it's about like having to put their shoes on. And another adult in their life, another parent might respond with frustration, like, come on, you know how to tie your shoes. Why do we have to tell you this every single time? Again, HSP parents aren't perfect. Sometimes that might be us saying those things. But we often can kind of read things beyond that and think, gosh, you know what? They didn't sleep super well last night. They have something going on at school today, maybe a presentation or like a performance, and maybe they're a little anxious around that. And, I can see like they're kind of scratching, maybe the tag at the back of their neck is bothering them and making them extra grumpy. So we're able to kind of like pick up on these cues and these little factors that others aren't able to at quite as easily. And that's a real gift to our children because it helps model for them. It helps teach them in that moment. For example, the one that I just gave, the grumpiness, it can be addressed from maybe having a little hug or grabbing a snack real quick or cutting that tag out of the shirt rather than keeping on kind of poking at this kind of the more behavioral issue that other people might see primarily as the problem. And lastly, looking at our sensitivity to subtle stimuli. This is like the most superpowery of the HSP traits, in my opinion. We are very attuned to like the beauty and the environment around us. An example I often give is my older son, who's my HSP son. One morning we were walking to school and he was like, "Gosh, something feels different." He's like, "Oh, that tree over there got trimmed." And we live in a very tree-y neighborhood. And so it wasn't like it was like one of three trees. It was like hundreds of trees that you could see, or dozens at least. And so he was able to pick on that, just that little subtle shift. And so as HSPs and as HSP parents, when we pick up on those subtle shifts, it means that we can address any concerns quite on the early side. We also are really thoughtful about creating beautiful and calm environments and lives for our children. Again, we're not perfect in this. I'm going to keep saying that, but because it's hard to keep a clean and tidy house with young people around us. But we are thoughtful in kind of how we cultivate a home environment for our families. We also are just attuned to the beautiful world around us. And so we can take deep enjoyment from things like the arts, things like a beautiful sunset, a arrangement of books. I have my little library over here. And we enjoy those sensory experiences like listening to music, enjoying the beauty of a loved one or our child, and like pausing to enjoy that view. And that's something also that we can teach our children. Even from the time that my firstborn was pretty young, I would take him to like plays, the junior plays, things put on by teenage kids and teenagers that were appropriate for him to check out. But it was a nice thing for us to do together. And I was able to kind of share my appreciation for the arts with him, which was a nice way for us to bond. And then this is my favorite, actually, this sensitivity to subtle stimuli. We can appreciate the unique beauty of our children. And of course, all parents, I believe all parents see the beauty in their children. But as HSPs, I think we have this kind of, the volume's just turned up. We can see little things like just the curl of our child's hair, or one of my kids has like multicolored eyes, and sometimes I just have to stop and look at them because I'm just so, awestruck at that. And so even in those moments where we might be overwhelmed or frustrated, and it doesn't need to be just about their physical appearance. It could be about, their voice or the questions that they ask or something kind that they do. We really can deeply enjoy and notice and enjoy and point out their unique and beautiful and wonderful qualities. And that's a gift that we can give to them as their parents. So there you have it. There's a few of many, many benefits to being a highly sensitive person and a highly sensitive parent. I would love for you to share your thoughts. What shows up for you? What are your gifts and superpowers as a highly sensitive parent? Are there things you appreciate about yourself or that others have noticed about you that might be related to your sensitivity? I'm curious to know them. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. I'll keep sharing here probably about once a week, and look forward to connecting with each of you.